Okay, I'm just waiting for someone to come in. I'm actually going to be setting a timer because I'm only staying on here for 1 hour. So I'm going to start that now. Okay. I know some people don't have a whole lot of time to just sit around and watch these things. So I set a timer for it, and when the hour is up, I'm going to turn it off. And I've got a little timer here, and it's going to let me know when we start getting close to that time. So I see I have one person out there, probably Mom, my #1 fan. How are you doing today, Mom? I have to set you up on your computer so that you can come in and see these also. And also, I wanted to tell you on your TV, you can see the comments if you hit your pause button, and they have like several different little icons up there. If you hit the one, it looks like a message kind of. If you hit that one, it'll turn on all the comments that the people leave, and you'll be able to see them on your TV screen. I actually tried that with another person's live on my TV last night, and it works really good, and I liked it a lot. So I wanted to share that with you. It looks like a little like the comment section that you normally would look at. The icon looks the same as that. So anyway, the background I'm using today is a background from the barn that we built behind our house. And it was built from some raw lumber. It's actually been built for several years, but I'm just now putting the picture up here so you guys can see it. And I had a few little news stories that I printed that I wanted to share with y'all. And there's one about the SNAP program. They're making some changes to the SNAP program for food stamps. I wanted to talk about that. And I had a good story about a person who had lost a wallet, a person who lost some rings, and how it was recovered and got back to them. So I'm going to be sharing those stories with you. And I also have a story about some beautiful flowers, and I'm going to change my background to show y'all the flowers that I'm talking about. If I can get to those, it may or may not let me. Okay, here it is. So y'all see these beautiful flowers in the background? These are some lotus flowers. And I saw this neat story on it. It says these lotus flowers are blooming again in Cosmore's historically largest lake, having been freed from the grasp of underwater silt that strangled them for 3 decades. Okay, Puddentang saying something about this recall that I mentioned last week. She said, I was so glad that you told us about the soap recall. I heard it here first, then I saw it in the news days later after you told us. I don't use that soap, but that was a major recall. Yeah, I'm trying to bring those to you as I find them. So, and I do have some other recalls to share with y'all today, and I'm going to get to those as well. But right now, talking about these lotus flowers that I have behind me, they evidently this was part of these people's diet for years and years. These stems of these lotus plants, they are beautiful, and I love that pink, how they're two-toned. That's so pretty. Very, very pretty. This lake that they grow in, it had shrunk dramatically by the conversion of shoreline and connected marshlands to agricultural areas by 1990. But in 1992, catastrophic flooding dumped thousands of tons of sediment into the lake, burying the lotus plant stems. These stems formed a major part of the local diet, and at the height of its productivity, the cottage industry of harvesting them sustained 5,000 local workers. The stems were cooked and served in several dishes, but the silt ended all of that. At the turn of the 20th century, Worrell Lake spanned 84 square miles, but by 2007, it had diminished to just 1/3 of that. Willow cultivation along the banks ensured that over-sedimentation of the lake bottom continued. Parts of it became dumping grounds, and more of the lake's fauna vanished. By 2020, the local communities had had enough. With the taste of the locust stems having been reduced to a fragment of a memory for the old and solemn children's stories to the young, the Wooler Conservation and Management Authority began a desilting program. Fed by the Jhelum River and its tributaries, WUCMA focused on controlling and preventing pollution and entering the lake through its flow. Before beginning the long, slow, slimy process of dredging the lake, 5 years on, a mind-boggling 8 million cubic meters of silt have been removed, and the lotus roots that remained dormant all of this time emerged. And for the first time in 33 years, the plants are flowering again. So they made a comeback. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was a neat story, and such a beautiful plant, such a beautiful flower. I thought that was awesome. Really liked that story a lot. And I have some other stories for you guys as well. Let's see. Oh, I bet y'all know what this one is. I bet y'all have seen this one already. I thought this was a pretty good one as well. Y'all know, of course, that Putin visited the Alaskan summit meeting, and Trump wanted to show off a little bit of our fighting force by flying these over as Putin landed and met with Trump. And I thought I like that a lot. Let's just say that the one in the middle, that large one, is a B-2 stealth bomber, and the two on each side of it is some F-35 fighter jets. So I thought that was pretty cool. Can you imagine the sound of that when they showed it? They showed Putin looking up in the sky, because I know it's a very loud sound. And he looked up and he saw that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Just look at that plane in the middle, guys. It doesn't even look like a plane, really, but it is. Wow, Puddin' Tang said. Yeah, wow. That's a pretty good show of force there. And those things were lined up on all sides of the tarmac where they had met. There was a bunch of different, fighting planes there lined up. I might not be using the right terminology, but that was pretty cool. I like that a lot. And so that was one of the stories that I wanted to share with y'all. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It actually got a lot of attention on the news and just everywhere. All the different news networks carried it. So I did see it in a lot of different places. Okay, here's a cool story here about a woman who is on the beach. Okay, you see these there's a ring here. It's not showing the whole picture, but this woman here, she's on the beach and she took off her wedding rings and put sunscreen on, and she got to put the rings back on. We don't have cable or watch the news, so I'm seeing it here first. Oh, well, here we go. I'm bringing it to you what I thought was interesting anyhow. Now, this woman, like I said, she took off her wedding band and I guess her engagement band while she was on the beach to put on some sunscreen. And she forgot to put the wedding bands and rings back on. And someone comes along and finds them. She didn't know what to do, so she called the 23-year veteran of the Cape May Fire Department when she discovered that she had lost him. And this guy runs a hobby helper service that allows him to spend mornings metal detecting on the beach looking for lost valuables. After his first sweep on the beach with his trusty metal detector, he had to call Emmanuel with some unhappy news. He had found nothing. Just a few days after she lost her rings, wild weather struck the coast with high winds and pummeling rain, complicating any further searches for the rings. Incredibly, though, a family playing in the sand days later found the second ring and, through the magic of social media, identified Emmanuel as its owner before giving it to the management at the Grand at Diamond Beach for safekeeping. That would have been a happy ending, but it gave Emmanuel the impetus to reach out again to ask Lag for another sweep of the shore. I immediately went back down the next morning at 5 a.m., got a little closer to the water, and I was able to recover her diamond and platinum band for her. Oh my God, I didn't believe it, she said. The emotion and just happy tears that had been recovered by this stranger. He picked up the ring that had been returned, got the wedding band, took both rings, and literally brought them to my doorstep like a superhero. So can you imagine? I mean, that's pretty amazing. You don't hear stories like that every day. A lot of times people find something like that on the beach and just pocket it. So she was very blessed to have her rings brought back to her, and both of them, not one of them, but both of the rings. So that was a very good story too. So if you guys have ever lost anything have you guys ever lost anything on the beach? I know Puddentang lives down there on Florida beaches. So have you ever lost anything like that in the sand? I know I lost a ring before in the sand. It wasn't a diamond ring or anything like that. And it was more like it was in a creek near Gorham. I had a ring and I had taken it off probably to do the same thing she did. And I never found my ring though. But she found hers, and I'm so glad for her. That was so awesome. I've never lost anything of value. Yeah, me either. Now, this story where you see behind me with the wallet and the stuff in it and the mechanic's finger, okay, this is another good story of lost and found. But this one is even crazier. The Ford Motor Company employee was reunited with a wallet he lost 10 years ago after a mechanic found it while servicing a car he built. This charming story comes via Minnesota, where mechanic Chad Volk was replacing the cooling fan on a 2015 Ford Edge when something that needed to snap into place wouldn't simply snap into place. He said, I messed around a little bit and then pulled it back out, and the wallet was sitting on a little ledge where it needed to snap down. I pulled the wallet out, and that's what it was. Inside the brown trifold was a Michigan driver's license, $15, a faded lottery ticket, $275 in Cabela's gift cards, and a Ford employee ID. Going to show that no matter how long you work under hoods and under chases, you've never seen everything, Volk says. Rewind the clock to Yuletide 2014, and Richard Guilford was in a bind. He had to wear sweatpants to the Wayne County Ford plant, lacking trouser pockets, and he had the wallet in his breast pocket. So this is the man who lost it, who actually the wallet belongs to. They're saying he had to wear these sweatpants, so he didn't have any pockets on his pants, but he had a pocket on his shirt, so he had put his wallet in that pocket. This was a mechanic that worked for Ford building cars. And when he was building this car and leaned over, the wallet fell out. Okay, this is how he lost this wallet 10 years ago. So while presumably stooping over the new red Edge, that's the name of the car, the wallet tumbled out. Guilford was unaware of it until later, and when he got his buddies to go back and look in some of the cars, he guessed it was in rather than inside. A flex, not an edge, an error that doomed the wallet to a long, dark slumber. Shipped to and sold in Arizona, then resold in Minnesota, 151,000 miles later, it arrived in Volk's Auto Bay in Lake Crystal, where the mechanic of several decades found it and immediately looked Guilford up on Facebook. Is it your wallet? First thing I said was, did you find? And the first thing the guy said was, did you find it in a car? The now retired Big Red, as he was affectionately known, was overjoyed to have his wallet returned for the story, if not for the cash. It restores your faith in humanity, that people will say, yeah, you lost this, I found this, I'm going to get it back to you, Guilford said Thursday, adding in wonder how it survived the snow and rain and the land of 1,000 lakes or the heat of a car's transmission under the Arizona sun. Can you imagine the odds of that happening? Okay. Pudding says she's seen this story. That was a good story. That was awesome. So one mechanic lost it and another mechanic found it. So that was pretty cool. But like he said, it's hard to believe that it actually survived, whatever it had been through. And the wallet, I mean, it looks rough, but it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad. Okay, and this next one, I know the picture is backwards, guys. And you can't even see all of it, but it's supposed to be for the SNAP program. You can buy what's like a food stamp program. Okay, so any food for the household that can be bought is fruits, vegetables, meat, poultry, fish, dairy products, bread, cereals, other foods such as snack foods and non-alcoholic beverages, seeds, plants, which produce food for the household to eat. Which I didn't even realize that you could buy seeds and plants, food plants with the SNAP program, but that's what it says here. Now, the things you cannot buy is beer, wine, liquor, cigarettes, tobacco, food and drinks containing controlled substances such as cannabis or CBD, vitamins, medicine, supplements. If an item has a supplement facts label, it is considered a supplement and is not eligible for SNAP purchase. Live animals, of course, cannot be used for SNAP, but you could buy like shellfish or fish removed from the water. Other things you can't buy is foods that are hot at the point of sale and any non-food items such as pet foods, cleaning supplies, paper products, other household supplies, hygiene items, and cosmetics. Now, there's a change that's been made to the program. And that change is that you can no longer buy sugary items like Cokes, high energy drinks, candy, and the candy would be like candy bars, candy pieces, candy drops, whatever you would call it. So all of those things aren't going to be able to be purchased with SNAP program anymore. A lot of people are very upset about it. But I did see some other states are participating in this as well. Texas, Arkansas, Florida, and there are some others too. And Puddentang saying, makes me thankful we live in Florida and Louisiana. They are making it more healthy. Not all states are participating. That is correct. I'm glad that they're doing it too. I think it's really a wonderful thing. And this is what our governor, Jeff Landry, had to say about it. He says, starting in January, because this goes into effect in January, at the beginning of the new year, next year, 2026. SNAP recipients will no longer be able to use their food stamp benefits to purchase soda, energy drinks, and candy. Governor Jeff Landry asked the federal government to prohibit these foods from being purchased by SNAP benefits because they contribute to poor health outcomes. Poor health outcomes. I mean, think about that. The government, the taxpayer is paying, for these programs to help people to buy food, which is good. People who can't buy food, if they can't work and all that, it's a good program. But the taxpayer is also paying for a lot of the medical care also. And the two go hand in hand, really. If you're not healthy, then you're going to need more medical care. I mean, it's just common sense. So, like I said, it's just common sense. It's not something, this is Jeff Landry still talking, he says it's not something that taxpayers should be paying for at the same time as you said, we've got so many problems with chronic diseases. Hello. Landry talked about the upcoming changes to the SNAP program on his Dinner Days podcast he recorded at a restaurant in Broussard. That might be Diner Days. Okay. The governor was joined by Louisiana Health Secretary Bruce Greenstein, who says the state's SNAP program cost the federal government $1.9 billion, and SNAP recipients use their benefits to purchase about $350 million in soda every year. If you've got stock in soda, you might want to drop it. We're basically freeing up money for families to go ahead and buy better foods, whether it's going to be, rice and beans, whether it's going to be meats, vegetables, dairy products. SNAP recipients can still purchase soda and candy, but they'll have to do so with their own money. Yeah. Okay. Greenstein says the waiver also allows the 800,000 SNAP recipients in the state to use their benefits to buy a hot rotisserie chicken. They are currently not allowed to do so. So that's a change that they may like. They could buy a hot rotisserie chicken already cooked, where, as I said on the other printout, as the rules are, in 2025, that was not allowed for before. Any hot already prepared meals was not like hot at point of sale is what I had said earlier. Those aren't allowed right now, but after January, the hot rotisserie chicken, that will be allowed. That'll be something that will be allowed. And so allowing rotisserie chicken or prepared food allows a parent on the way home from work to pick up foods that the kids can eat right there instead of snack foods or sugar foods and pop, which that makes sense, you know. That's good. So that is my news stories, and I think that's most of those. But I did want to tell y'all about the recalls. I got a few recalls that I wanted to mention to you guys. And I'm just going to switch back to a different background, get off of this snap background. All right. I guess it'll change in a minute. I just changed it. But I guess it don't want to do farming. We're going to get it. We're going to make it to. I'm trying to put one on of my son's camp that he had built when he was a teenager. It was so neat because he had got the well, if it comes up, I'll tell you. But for now, the recalls. There's a Members Mark freeze-dried fruit. Yes, this is something, I think it's like a Sam's brand. You can buy it at Sam's. Okay, it changed. The Members Mark freeze-dried fruit contains a listeria contamination. So that's something you might want to look into if you've got some of those. Yeah, protein, Pudding Tang said, eat more. The kids can eat more protein on that SNAP program like that, and less of that sugar that makes them sick. You know, canned Coke, a 12-ounce can of Coke contains 10 teaspoons of sugar. One 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola contains 10 teaspoons of sugar. That's a lot. It's like a quarter of a cup of sugar nearly, because a quarter of a cup will hold 12 teaspoons of sugar. So now I think that's right. That's what I read on the internet. I'll have to actually spoon some in. I think it's more than that. That's probably a liquid measurement, what I saw. So I have to do that with the dry sugar and put it into a measuring device and see how much that is. Yeah, it did come out nice. I mean, it was just pieces that he found here and there. It was all scrap materials, and it came out really nice. I have some better pictures of it than that. I just don't have them pulled up right now. But for a 16-year-old, or he might have been 15 maybe, but he did a good job on it. It had the first little room had a sink in it. Oh yeah, it had a door. It had a couple of doors. It had a front door here, and then it had a back door there, and then this was one little room. It had a sink in it. You can't see it in there now because he wasn't to that point yet. And then that piece further back there was another room that had another door to it, and it had a window in it. It had two windows in it. It had some bunk beds in it, like some army beds. And he had one of our friends, who was one of his friends as well, gave him the beds, some military beds. They were metal, and also gave him a wood heater, a wood burning heater, and he put that in there. He had a little oven in there and a coffee pot and a TV and a DVD player. You could actually go and live in there, seriously. It had a tree growing through it though, and we after he didn't use it anymore and he grew up and moved on, we actually started pulling pieces off of it and using it for other projects. But it was a really nice little camp. You could have went and lived in it actually and been comfortable, especially in the wintertime, with the heater. But I don't think it would have been too comfortable in the summertime. Of course, you could have put a fan in it because it had electricity. My husband did electricity and he ran him some electricity back there. And there was already water ran back there because we used to raise some pigs and we had some pigs back there and we had to have water for them. So he had running water and electricity in that camp. And like I said, he had the wood burning stove as well. So yeah, it was pretty nice. The boy had it made, let me tell you. His friends was just all too happy to come and camp with him in there. Probably a better house than what my some of my ancestors grew up in. Okay, so if you get any of this Members Mark freeze-dried fruit, you might want to check into that because some of it was recalled due to a listeria contamination. So you might want to check that out. And also there's a, looks like Schnucks frozen tortellini and the Hillside Orchard Farms bread. Now those on their recall, they were recalled, these two different items were recalled due to allergens not being listed on their package. Like I don't know exactly what the allergens were, if it were nuts or what. Hey Sam, you like gloves? Okay, you told us that last time. You still like them, I suppose. Yes, I do, and I do wear the gloves. I use them for all kind of stuff. Actually, my husband has this. It's a capsaicin cream that he uses for his injuries, and you have to have gloves to apply that, or otherwise you'll be in big trouble. You got to use gloves to apply that stuff. I could use some right now. And if I do nails, I'll use them for that too. Fingernails. Oh yeah, it definitely does burn, that capsaicin cream. It works good, but when you use that stuff, you just have to use a little tiny amount. You don't squirt a big old thing on there like you would with some Bengay. No, you put a tiny, tiny amount and you make it go a long ways, because a little bit goes a long ways. Once it activates and it starts warming up, you don't want to have a whole bunch of that stuff smeared on you because you have a hard time getting it off. I mean, you can get in the tub and try to wash it off, but really, it's not going to just come right off. I can promise you. My husband likes those capsaicin patches on his back, and you can't get in the sun with them. I hadn't tried the patches, and I don't think Errol has either. But I can imagine in the sun it would be worse. Definitely. Some stuff you got to be careful with. I like the gloves to clean with also. Like sometimes when washing dishes, have some gloves just for that. Yeah, it makes it harder. I try to use gloves when I wash dishes, but a lot of times I forget. It's like a habit. It would be a good habit to get into, though. I really do believe that. It would save your hands a lot because that dish soap is very, it's designed to cut grease. So it's going to, um, cut the grease, the oil, the natural oils in your skin that helps your skin to stay soft, and it would strip that, that's what those detergents are designed to do. So I'll have to check your channel out, Sam, and see what kind of situation you got going on with those gloves there. Okay, so that one with the Schnucks frozen tortellini and the Hillside Orchard Farms bread. If you're not allergic to anything, that's probably not of interest to you, that recall. The one with the freeze-dried fruit would definitely be of interest. Anything that contains listeria is definitely something you want to avoid. And the third one I have is for the Frigidaire mini fridges. This one was posed an electrical concern. There was 26 reports of smoking, sparking, melting, overheating, and catching fire, leading to property damage and smoke inhalation injuries. And I think it said it was up to like $700,000 in damages so far. So that seemed like a pretty serious one to me, that Frigidaire mini fridge. So if you have one of those, you may want to look into it. Look it up and see what you can find out on it. Definitely would be something to look into. Yeah, that's scary. Very much so. It looks like I have a couple of notes here about Trump wanting to clean up the crime in DC. I know that the crime there is totally out of hand. It seems like I had read that there were almost 70 arrests made, I think, on Saturday night in DC, just in DC. So he's putting the hammer down there, which it needs to be cleaned up. I mean, can you imagine? You don't used to, that was a place you would bring the teachers would bring kids on field trips to go and see the Capitol. But it's so dangerous now. You can't even, I wouldn't want to let my kids go there. I know that. I don't want to go there. I would love to see the Capitol, but it's got so much crime there. I definitely wouldn't want to go. So if they can clean that up, that would definitely be a big plus. A big plus. And also, something that I thought was funny was that Hillary Clinton said that she'd nominate Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize if he could get Putin to withdraw from Ukraine and not take away any of their land, and yada, yada, yada. She made all kind of other stipulations that he would have to follow before she would nominate him. But it's pretty much a joke. She's not going to be doing that. We know that. Them two don't get along. They mix kind of like oil and water. And that's really all I have to say about that kind of stuff. But other than that, that's the news, guys. What's going on with y'all? Did y'all have a good week? I mean, I know it's just Monday here, but I guess I'm referring to the time between my last live and this one. I cut the grass again today. I got out there and the wind was blowing and it was kind of cool because there was some rain coming. But I was able to cut everything I wanted to. And when I got off the mower, just a little while later, it started sprinkling, but we didn't get a heavy rain. Now, the other day, we got a big pour down. I didn't think we was going to get much of rain that day. I said, it might rain, but it's not going to do much. Well, I was shocked and surprised when it rained for an hour and a half, almost nonstop, with a huge electrical storm, lots and lots of thunder and lightning. My dog was shivering. He is so afraid of thunder. I have one dog outside and two inside. The two inside, one of them is very afraid of thunder, and the other one, he doesn't really seem to mind it very much. But the one that was deathly afraid of thunder, me and Misty, he was trying to take a nap. And Jack is the one that's scared. We have had a lot of rain this summer too, but we needed it so bad. So Jack was like trying to jump on the bed, and he's heavy. I can't pick him up. He's that heavy. And Mr. E was sound asleep. And there was no way I could pick Jack up and put him in the bed. So I had to get on the floor with him. And I had a nice thick rug, and I just laid on the rug with him with a pillow and a blanket and covered him up and was holding him. It helped him a little bit, but that was the most I could do for him. I sure couldn't stop the thunder. Do y'all have dogs that are afraid of thunder like that? I've had other dogs that were afraid of thunder too. I had one named Poochie, and he was deathly afraid of it also. And I mean, the ones I've had, when they start shaking like that, you can't stop them from shaking until the storm passes. So anyways, we've had a lot of rain this summer, which we needed it because a couple of years ago, we had some really bad droughts, and we're still being affected by them, even though we're getting a lot of rain right now. I don't think we're caught up on our water table, our groundwater table. I don't think we're caught up yet. So still need rain. I'm supposed to be pouring some concrete at my son's sometime soon, but so we're hoping we don't get too much rain. I was able to spray some Roundup this morning, which was much needed. Had some weeds and stuff growing, because every time I spray, I end up missing some of the parts that I need to spray. And then it becomes evident, that I missed certain areas. I was able to get that together. Mr. E cleaned out the sprayer for me, and he mixed me up a couple of gallons of Roundup. He got my lawnmower ready for me this morning and put some new gas in it and made sure it would start, because sometimes those mowers, they don't always just crank right up when you go out there to use them. So mine was, he had it all prepared. Was able to get out there and cut my grass before the rain. Thank goodness. I now barely made it. Even though it didn't rain very much, it still wet the grass. And I don't like to mow wet grass. To me, that's very bad and hard on a lawnmower mower. It rusts the belly out of it, for one. I have heard to put some food coloring in the weed killer so you can see where you are spraying. Oh, that's a good idea. That is a good idea, because a lot of times it evaporates. I guess you would still be able to see the food coloring. I'll have to try that. And I have some food coloring here too. I had bought some when it was on clearance, so I've got several little things of it here, several little containers of it. And I even have some of the, you know, at Easter time when they have those little tablets you drop in the cups to dye the eggs. I have some of those. I probably could dilute some in some water first instead of just dropping it right into my sprayer. I have to try that. That would be a good use for those. I didn't get a whole lot of housework done today. I was able to wash my dishes. I didn't wash any clothes today. I need to do some vacuuming. There's always housework that needs to be done. That's all the time. It's never, ever complete. And it's not my favorite thing to do either. I like the house to be clean and decluttered, but it don't always happen. I had decluttered a good bit of my house. I had read this book that totally had me stoked. I was organizing, getting rid of stuff. It was working out so good. And then it started piling up again. So I guess I need to get my book back out and read it again. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't get rid of enough stuff either, you know, for it to work. Maybe you really have to get rid of a lot of stuff and restrict yourself to not bring stuff back into the house again. That's the thing, is don't keep buying and bringing stuff in. That's the main thing. Maybe keep purging, you know, getting stuff out. I've got years of buildup in this house. I've been living in this house for 25 to 30 years, and there's a lot of things accumulated. Always housework. You and Mr. E work well together. This is Puddin' Tang's comment I'm reading, y'all. Me and my husband don't work together very well. He is the muscles and I am the cleaner. Well, it's kind of like that here too. There's projects that we get along well with, and there's projects that we don't get along well with. That's just the way it is, you know. There's some things that he's just better at, and there's some things that I'm just better at. And a lot of times we work separately. We don't always work together. I know y'all see us on our videos working together on some projects, and we do work together on some of them. But mostly, you know, I don't film everything around here. And mostly I'm working on my own, doing my own thing, and he's doing his own thing. If I could tape everything that we're both doing, I'd have more to show y'all, you know, but I just can't. I'm busy doing my own thing. I can't follow him around too, you know, while he's doing his thing. And sometimes he gets in the mood to take the camera with him, and he'll tape whatever he's doing. But it does take time to get the camera, get the batteries, make sure they're charged, decide if you want to use a microphone or not. And a microphone really is a lot better to use, but you have to have that charged up as well, and know how to use it and plug it in and all this kind of stuff. It don't sound like a whole lot, but you have to know how to use that stuff. It has a little cord. You got to make sure there's space on the cord and that your batteries are charged and all that. And sometimes it's easier and faster just to do whatever you're doing without getting all that stuff together. So you kind of have to be in the mood to do it, to pull these things together. And a lot of times we are. we will get the camera out and tape whatever we're doing. The other day, there was like I said, we had a big thunderstorm, lightning storm, and I wanted to film some of it. And then by the time it was almost over, that was when I finally found my camera. Because we misplaced stuff. We do that a lot here. Or one of us will move something. Okay, that's my 10-minute warning. I don't know if y'all heard it or not. So I'm just going to stay on 10 more minutes, but we misplace stuff around here. Y'all, we spend so much time looking for stuff that we misplaced. It's crazy. It's not just that camera. I can guarantee you that. And lately, my hearing is suffering. But since I had shingles on my face, searching, yes. Since I had that shingles on my face and it was in my ear, it actually affected my hearing. I had a hearing test done and I actually lost some hearing in this ear. And so now a lot of times I notice myself saying, what, having people repeat things that they said to me because I can't hear them. And I was telling Errol that today, he was talking to me. He was in one room and I was in the other one. And I was like, what, asking him over and over. And it occurred to me that as we get older and we're constantly losing our hearing, we don't want to keep asking people to repeat things over and over. So it comes to a point where, for me anyway, I'll just be like, yeah, okay. And really, I didn't hear what was said. So I told him, I said, a lot of people that have hearing loss probably get mistaken for being senile because, other people will be like, well, I know I told you this and you said, yeah. You'd be like, yeah, but I'm losing my hearing. I just said I heard you. I don't know what you said. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, when I was trying to explain it to him, I told him, I said, it sounds like a Chrissy moment off of Three's Company. Sometimes I think I sound like her when I'm explaining myself. It's horrible. I worked on the flight lines most of my career and my hearing is horrible now. Yeah, I can imagine that being damaging to your hearing. Definitely can. Hop a wheelie. Brett, you're coming in late. I got 8 minutes left. And Michelle too. I got 8 minutes left, guys. I'm sticking to my schedule here. I was talking about how bad my hearing is. Oh, you have selective hearing according to your wife, Deborah. Ooh, Michelle's having a grumpy day. And Pudding says she has hearing aids and they help some, but I still misunderstand conversations. Well, Mr. E has hearing aids. He has like hardly no hearing in one of his ears. Michelle's roommate has that selective hearing too. I think a lot of people have that selective hearing. Yeah, Michelle, sorry to hear about your grumpy day. I hate that, those bad days. Ear horn, does that work? Well, like I was saying, Mr. E has a hearing aid because he can't hardly hear, but he hardly ever wears the hearing aid because it's so hard to put on. And that's another thing you have to charge and clean because they get stopped up very easily and you have to clean them and you better have some good eyesight to clean it. I could tell you that as well. He nods even though he didn't hear. And I get so frustrated later on because I think he heard me. You see, that's what I was just saying, Michelle, before you came on, is that I do that because I get so tired of saying what. And it's like, I know it's frustrating the person I'm asking to repeat something 15 times. That's my 5-minute warning. And so I just say, and I don't know what the heck was said. And then later on, like you were saying, your frustration of you thinking the person understood you, but they're just saying, yeah, because they're tired of frustrating you with asking you to repeat something over and over and over again. After I ask Errol to repeat something 3 or 4 times, I can hear the frustration in his voice. When he has to repeat it for that 4th time, I'm just like, yeah. It's frustrating for everyone, Pudding Tang says. Mm-hmm. Michelle said she needs 2 ear horns. The air horn does not work. Absolutely not. I need to control my emotions more effectively, Michelle says. Don't we all? That's for sure. That's something we all need to work on. It's so hard sometimes. It I I think it's best just to be quiet sometimes. That's what I try to do. Sometimes it's so hard to hold your tongue, but I think it pays off in the long run. Oh, thanks, Brett. I appreciate that. That's sweet of you. I've been trying to catch your lives, but every time I go on there, you're not having a live. But I sure appreciate you coming on mine. And I have been to Peter's lives a couple of times. Yeah, Pet and Bud, the Anatolian Shepherd, those are some cool dogs. They're big too, lots of hair. I can certainly get to peeling out trying to make my point, Michelle said. Oh, Lord, girl. Yeah, we do run hoop nets for catfish, whatever gets caught in them. Catfish, goo, buffalo, that's normally what we catch in them. And, you know, yeah, catch all of that in there. I grew up in East LA. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of that Cheech and Chong movie, East LA. Be around your own until you've been around him some. We're going to be sending out 100 rabbits to freeze camp in the fall. Come on over if you want some rabbit meat. We've been having a lot of rabbits around here. Deborah's from Mississippi. Okay. Hi, Gage. I'm glad you came in and asked that question about the hook nets. Welcome. And Michelle said she loves the rabbit meat. Well, come on. Make sure I'm with Daniel. I guess you can go over there and get some rabbit meat, Michelle, in Arkansas. Okay, so Gage is saying that he understands that about catching anything in them, just trying to figure it out. I got a smaller one. I checked it out today and had nothing in it but a turtle. Any tips? Well, one thing is the way that you run it. You have to watch some of those longer videos that Mr. E has on them because he shows how to set them. You normally would set them in running water, not like in a pond, okay? You would, like for us, we use a canal. It has water that runs through the canal. And you would set it in a way that, you see, fish are going to swim upstream. So if the water is flowing this way, the fish are going to be swimming this way. You're going to want to set that net with the opening facing this way so that the fish will swim into it. So that's major tip right there. From Orlando, Florida. Oh, I never tried to do the emails. Hello, Radio Man from Florida. Hello, Britt, he said. I tried to post my email on my site, Brett, saying, isn't it weird that they suppressed you sending your email to people you need contact with? I don't know. I never fooled with that, so I really couldn't answer you on that. I try to share my contact info with as much like-minded people as possible. I hadn't gotten into that. I just one thing at a time. I learned kind of slow with all this stuff, and I hadn't gotten around to that. I wanted to do some stuff, more stuff like that, and I guess eventually I will. Don't do it. You see, that's what I think too. That's why I hadn't gotten, just dove head into that. Yeah. Yeah, Gage, that's good. Definitely. And we never, I'm not gonna say never, but we usually do not put bait into those. Usually the fish will run along the sides of something. So a lot of times we'll just set the net right on the side of the bank, from the bank. And have luck with that. But you do have to move it some till you find a spot that catches. Because some spots do catch better than others just because of the way the fish travel. They take preferred routes just like we do. North Mississippi, where are y'all from? Well, we're from Central Louisiana. With a smart appliance, quick kill switch. Oh yeah, any of that stuff is not good. I had a washing machine that I had all kind of trouble with like that. It's similar to a wire net trap, but it's built as a hook net. So it's got the fabric netting on it. Kind of the same size as a slat trap. I'm not really familiar with the slat trap. My husband probably would understand that. In Bluetooth. Oh man. Oh, I sure don't want to fool with that. Not at all. So much you can do with that little tinfoil hat, Brett. Well, guys, my time is up. About 5 minutes over. So I'm signing out. Mr. E is ready to use his television, and we cannot use the computer like this and the television at the same time. So I'm going to sign out. I do these on Monday nights at 6 o'clock. Y'all are all welcome to come back, and I do hope that I can see y'all again on these. Farmerville. Cool. And maybe Brett will come back with his little tin hat. Thanks, Puddin' Tang, for joining us. I appreciate that. And I'll try to have some more little, recalls for y'all next week and whatever else, some little news highlights like I did tonight. And we'll just talk, and y'all can tell me about what's going on in y'all's world, and I'll tell y'all about what's going on in mine. Until then, I love y'all too. Y'all take care of each other. Y'all keep praying. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'll be praying and tending to my business, trying to live in peace with everybody when it's possible. So y'all take care, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Night, Mom. Love you. Love you too, Michelle, and all the rest of you guys too. Michelle's my niece, so she got a special shout out. I'll see you guys later. And Puddin' Tang too. Can't forget her. She's been with me forever. And Brett. And thanks for you new guys coming in. I appreciate it, and hope to see you on the next one. Bye now.